guys, hope that you're all doing well, staying healthy. Hopefully your families are fine. Again, the other day what we did was we worked with surface area of a sphere, and what we're going to work with today is going to end up being volume of a sphere. And again, since we're dealing with volume, we're going to be working with what's on the inside of a sphere, right? So surface area of a sphere, whenever you think of a sphere, always think of a ball. Surface area of a sphere was when we were dealing with how much would be on the outside. So if you're thinking about a ball, how much would be on the outside of a ball? How much material, right? When you're dealing with the volume of a sphere, you're talking about how much that can actually hold on the inside. And since it's a sphere, the only measurement that we always have regardless is a radius, right? How much length the sphere has from the center to the side, anywhere. Okay, radius is all we have. So to figure out the volume of a sphere, there's this formula, and it's going to look complicated at first. It's going to look very much different. It's going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. And again, looks completely different. You're not dealing with squared anymore because the components of the formula have it be cubed. You're going to have to cube the radius before you do anything else, and then I'll show you how to actually deal with that 4/3 pi r cubed. So I just want to show you the formula, and I wanted to show you this because, again, don't get freaked out. I'll show you that there's an easy way to actually deal with all of this. So again, only thing that we can substitute in here is the radius of the sphere, right? Everything else, it's all constants that are always in the formula. So let me erase all this just to actually give myself some more space to work with. So, okay, let's say we have a sphere, right? We have a sphere right there. And the only measurement that we're going to have for this sphere is going to be the radius, right? So let's say that the radius of this sphere is going to end up being 4 centimeters, right? So we have 4 centimeters, and we know that the formula for volume of a sphere is going to end up being 4/3 pi r cubed, right? And the only measurement that we can work with in this case is going to end up being the radius. We know that the radius is 4. Right? So once we actually start substituting in, the only thing we can substitute is going to be the 4 for the radius. So everything else, we just rewrite again, right? You have 4/3, you have pi, we know that the radius here is 4, and we have the cubed, which again, some people may make a mistake with that cube, but I'll show you how to work with it. Again, we did nothing else other than keep everything that we had, the 4/3, the pi, the cubed, but the radius, we know that the radius was 4. So before you deal with the 4/3, you deal with the pi, let's take a look at that 4⁵. Because if it was 4 squared, it would mean 4 times 2. 4 times 2, I'm sorry, it would mean 4 times 4. Since we're dealing with 4 cubed, it means that we're actually going to do 4 times 4 times 4, right? Because that's what 4 cubed means. 4 cubed literally means you have 4 times 4 times 4. If you had 4 squared would mean 4 times 4. But since it's 4 cubed, it's telling you you're going to multiply 4 3 times. 1, 2, 3. That's where the 3 comes from, the cube. So whenever you want to do this, let's just take a look at it. We know that 4 cubed is going to represent 4 times 4 times 4. So now if we were to do this, 4 times 4 gives us 16, right? Because 4 times 4 is 16. Can't forget about that other 4 right there, right? And we know that 16 times 4 is going to end up giving us 64. So I just wanted to show you this because I did want to show you where that 4 cubed comes from, where that 4⁵ power comes from. And what that 4⁵ means is 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4. And once you have that, you're just going to end up multiplying it out. 4 times 4 was 16. So 4 times 4 was 16. 16 times 4 gives us 64. So where we see 4⁵ now, we're going to end up writing 64, right? So bring everything else down. 4⁵, 4/3, right? We have pi, and we just said it. 4⁵ is 64. So again, all we did, brought down the 4/3, brought down the pi, and we saw that 4 times 4 times 4 was 64. Because now once you get it to this point, it becomes a lot easier. So you have this fraction here, which a lot of times people get freaked out about dealing with that fraction. My easiest advice to you right now, just to create as little confusion as possible with you guys at home by yourselves, I would say just convert that to a decimal. We know that 4 over 3 means 4 divided by 3. And if you were to do 4 divided by 3, it gives you 1.33. And the numbers keep repeating over and over again. But again, I would just say, since we're working with it at home, I don't want you guys to get confused or lost. Whenever you see 4 over 3, I would say do 4 divided by 3 gives us 1.33. And there are more decimals. If you want to keep it more accurate, write as many decimals as possible. But I would say at the very least, use 2 decimal places to get your answer as accurate to this case as possible. So again, 4 divided by 3 was 1.33. We know that pi is 3.14, right? And 64 stays the same. Because now what we're going to do with all of these numbers, we're just going to end up multiplying them out. So just to show you again where this all came from, the 4 over 3, 4 divided by 3 gave us 1.33, right? Pi, I just wrote 3.14, and then the 64 stayed the same. Because now, once you have all of these numbers here, since they're all next to each other with no addition sign, no subtraction sign, you can just multiply them all. So if you wanted to multiply all 3 numbers, you could. But I'm just going to break them up just to make it a lot easier for you guys to see. First thing I'll do is I'll do 1.33 times 3.14. 1.33 times 3.14 gives us 4.18. And again, it gives us 4.1762, but I'll round it to 4.18. And now, this times this gave us 4.18. Now we have to do times 64, right? So again, just to show you guys, when I have this step here, let me show you. Once I have this step here, all I did was, did 4 divided by 3, give us 1.33. I used 3.14 for pi, brought down to 64. Now it's just 3 numbers that I have to multiply, so I did 1.33 times 3.14 to give us 4.18 estimated. And now I'm going to do 4.18 times 64, right? I'm going to do 4.18 times 64, and it's going to give me 267.52. And let's not forget centimeters. And since we're dealing with volume, it's got to be cubed. That's our answer right there. 267.52 centimeters cubed. Which again, cubed is because we're dealing with volume. But if we were looking at that sphere, that's how much it would be able to hold on the inside, because it's volume. And hardest part that some people may have issues with is dealing with the 4 to the third there. Some people may get confused with the 4 divided by 3. Again, 4 to the third means you multiply 4 times 4 times 4, because 4 to the third means you have 4 3 times. And then 4 divided by 3 just literally means do 4 divided by 3 to give you 1.33. But let's try another one just to see if you guys feel comfortable with it again. Again, after this then, tomorrow we'll do a little bit of practice for your final quiz for me for cycle 4 and actually for the year too. And it'll just be on volume and surface area of a sphere, right? Okay. You have another sphere, and the only measurement that they can give you is going to be a radius, right? Now I'll keep the numbers small too. Let's say that the radius that they give us is 2 feet. Radius is 2 feet. And now again, we know that the formula for volume is going to end up being 4 over 3 pi r cubed. And when you have that, first thing you want to do before any other work, just substitute the only variable we have. The only variable we have is r. We know that the radius of this sphere is 2. So let's rewrite everything that we know. 4 over 3 is going to stay the same. Pi is going to stay the same. We know that the radius there is 2. And we have the cube, the third. All we did, 4 to the third stayed the same. 4 to the third, I'm sorry. 4 divided by 3 came down. Pi came down. we know that the radius was 2, and the cube to the third power came down as well. So before you start dealing with all of this, again, let's take care of that exponent, right? When you take care of that exponent, 2 to the third literally means 2 times 2 times 2, right? 2 to the third just means that because you have 3 2's. So we have 3 2's. 2 times 2 times 2, 2 to the third. So now once you have that, we're going to end up multiplying it out, right? So we know that 2 times 2 is 4, right? And now we want to do 4 times that last 2, which is 8. So we know that 2 to the third, right? 2 to the third that we originally had is 8. And all we did was 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So we can substitute that there, right? We know that 2 to the third was 8. We know that the pi stays there. We have the 4 divided by 3 right there, right? And all I did, I just brought everything down. 4 to the third, pi, 2 to the third, 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 8. And now once you have it at this point, once you have it at this stage right here, my advice to you to make your lives easier at home, just convert everything that you can to decimals, right? And just try to keep it to 2 decimal places. So we know that 4 divided by 3 is 1.33. We know that pi is 3.14 approximately, and 8 stays the same. And all I did, just changed everything that I could to decimals. 4 divided by 3 was 1.33, pi was 3.14, and then 8 stayed the same, right? So that came here, right? This came here, and then that just came down there. Because once you have this all now this way, just like we did before, it becomes so much easier. So again, if you want to do 1.33 times 3.14, it'll give us the same number that we had before, which was 3.14 times 1.33, gave us again 4.17, 4.18 we used before. And again, just to round it off, just to keep it as accurate as possible. So 1.33 times 3.14 gives us about 4.18. And now we're going to do times 8 as well, right? So all we did was 1.33 times 3.14 was 4.18. And then, can't forget the 8 that's there, right? So this all gave us that, right? And now we brought this down. And now last step, 4.18 times 8. 4.18 times 8 is going to give us 33.44. 33.44. Let's not forget the units. The units is feet. And since we're dealing with volume, again, it's cubed. Again, guys, it just looks a little bit more complicated than all the others because it's dealing with a lot more decimals. But the decimals here I'm asking you to use, it's just to make your lives a lot easier. Just always remember, 2 to the third or anything to the third power just means that number, multiply it by itself 3 times. So 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2. If you were to do 5 to the third, it means 5 times 5 times 5, right? And then once you've converted that to a term, 4 divided by 3 will give you 1.33, pi will give us 3.14, and once you have all these numbers, if you even just want to multiply them all together, you could, because it will give you a final answer. If you want to do the first number times the second number, you can do that, which is always accurate as well. Just don't forget then to multiply by the ultimate number, the last number. Okay, and remember, this number, volume, 33.44, represents how much space would actually be in that sphere. Again, today we did volume, yesterday we did surface area. Tomorrow we'll do a quick review for your final quiz for the year on surface area and volume of a sphere. Hope you guys are all doing well. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever, guys. Take care. Stay healthy.